This type of shoe has been really popular with blue collar workers, geometry teachers, dads, country boys, and people who care about comfort above all else. But then Hey Dudes came onto the scene and completely took over and stole that entire market. So we're gonna take these Ariat Spitfires, really the OG Hey Dudes before Hey Dudes even existed, and cut them in half, run them through our test to really figure out, are these better than Hey Dudes? Are they worth twice the price of Hey Dudes? And why you might want to throw out your Hey Dudes after watching this. So what is this shoe? Well, the brand is Ariat. The style is the Spitfire. They weigh 14 ounces, which is surprisingly light, but not compared to the 7 or 8 ounces that the Hey Dudes are. And these retail for $120 compared to $60 for the Hey Dudes, and they're made in Vietnam. And the way they position this product is rugged like a boot, comfy like a sneaker. With a classic moccasin-inspired silhouette, Spitfire will be your go-to tackle chores, running errands, and everything in between. If you want a pair of these, check them out via links in my description. So why is this specific style boot so popular, and why has it been so popular? It's lightweight, but still durable. It's comfortable while still being supportive. It has a sneaker feel while having boot utility. So you can see why Hey Dudes exploded in popularity when they first came out, because they're super lightweight, they're super comfortable, and they feel a lot like a sneaker for half the price.
Did you know that condensation is your enemy? Like, you got your nice cold drink, you're getting refreshed, you set your drink down on the table and bam, watering, staining your table. It sucks. That's why Rose Anvil is releasing brand new specialty coasters made from super unique boot leathers. So what's so good about a leather coaster? They naturally absorb the moisture without seeping through to the surface below. The soft leather naturally grips the surface, preventing slipping, spills, and scratches. And what's really cool about the leather coasters is they patina over time. Like, I've had this kind of experimental coaster on my desk for about 1.5 years. I've been putting my drinks on it literally every single day. And it started as this color, so you can kind of see how crazy it gets, and it also forms like the shape of the actual cup. Like, there's little indentations right here where the cup goes, and it's like formed perfectly to that over time. For the boot enthusiasts, it's like the exact same leather as the boots you're probably wearing right now. So you can match your boots to your coasters, you can kick your feet up right next to your coaster, and it'll be the same things like Oro Legacy, Copper Rough and Tough, Hawthorne Mule Skinner, Amber Harness, Brown Distress, Chocolate Shrunken Bison, Tobacco Shrunken Bison, Black Shrunken Bison. Also, the holidays are coming up, so it's like a perfect gift for anybody, like coworkers, maybe giving them a subtle hint to get their act together and stop staining all the dang tables with their 45-ounce Diet Coke. So they all come in packs of 4, so you get 4 coasters with them. Check them out while they're still in stock and match your boots to your coasters. It's sick.
So now start looking at the materials with the Ariats and figure out what the real difference is, starting with the upper first, because this is one of the biggest differences when it comes to that lightweight while still being durable, because obviously this is a leather versus a canvas or like a knit upper, and so leather is always going to be more durable than a synthetic upper. But how good is this leather? Well, it's a full grain leather, so you can see through at least they say it's a full grain leather, because you look at the cross section, you see the grain, but just looking at the surface, it's probably not a full grain. It's definitely been sanded and buffed, and it has like this unique kind of I don't even know if it's a texture or print or what it is, but it still definitely has the grain in it, which is really all that matters to me. And as for the thickness, it's about 1.8 millimeters thick, so right in between the sneaker and boot thicknesses. The puncture test took about 133 pounds, which is pretty impressive. But this leather, when I first got it, I honestly thought it was fake leather, because it feels like fake leather. It feels like that foamy fake leather, because that's kind of how this leather is. It's a really foamy leather. It's really open, not a lot of conditioners and oils worked into it. It's really light and dry, so it's gonna be really flexible, but you're not gonna get a lot of those like long-lasting durability aspects of leather unless you start conditioning it, because all these dry fibers over time and over a few years, there's no moisture in there to lubricate them. So over time and all these points where you really flex it a lot, those dry fibers eventually start splitting and cracking. So even though it's kind of a cheap leather and it's really foamy and dry, it's still gonna be more durable than the Hey Dudes, but it's still gonna take some time to break in that leather compared to a really soft knit upper or a canvas upper. And so it is more durable, but maybe not as comfortable as Hey Dudes. But there's one part of this Ariat that you cannot deny is more comfortable than the Hey Dudes, because, you know, people love Hey Dudes because they're so comfortable. They have this really thick, squishy insole in there, and they sometimes say it's leather and sometimes they don't. It's got a little toe bar on it. But you pull this mattress out, and this thing is ridiculous. It's up there with some of the thickest and squishiest insoles we've ever seen. And it's super soft at like a 20 to 25 Shore. We did the ball drop test. It bounced up almost 18 inches, 11th out of all of them that we've ever done. At the toe alone, it's like 9 or 10 millimeters, and at the heel, it's tough to get, it's over 10 millimeters compared to the Hey Dudes. 5, and 7.5. So, and as for the rest of the inside of this boot, you know, pretty typical lining for a sneaker for the most of this area. It's a little bit of foam backed with just a typical fabric, whereas the Hey Dudes are just a simple lining. So you get a little extra comfort from that foam, but the thing that really matters to me when it comes to the comfort and that durability is they have what's shockingly rare. These have a dedicated internal counter cover that's actually leather, because that's that one spot that's really high wear spot, because you get a little heel slip, starts wearing through the inside of the heel, especially on Hey Dudes where it's such a thin material. When I saw that this had an internal leather counter cover, I was really surprised, because it is, you know, it's 120 bucks. It's more of a shoe than it is anything. Most boots, even $200 range, don't have a counter cover like that. And underneath the insoles, they have almost the exact same Strobel stitched foam lasting material. But there's one thing that you might think Hey Dudes will always beat basically every other shoe in, and that's the soft midsole. But because Hey Dudes, the midsole is essentially the outsole, because right underneath that foam, well, you can see the cut in half, it's just one density of foam all the way from where you're standing all the way to the outside. There's no technical outsole that's rubber. It's just, you're just standing on the foam. And that makes these ridiculously squishy and really soft, and they kind of roll all over the place, but they're not supportive in really any way, and they're even less durable because you're just standing on really soft foam. And that foam's pretty soft. It comes in at a 30 to 35 short A, but even though it's not the most durable, a lot of people assume it's ridiculously comfortable. But we took a couple measurements of the midsole of the Ariat, and it's even softer. It's like a 20 to 25 short A. So you get a softer insole, you get a softer midsole foam, but with the Ariats, you get an actual rubber outsole. So you get all that squish that's even more squishy than the Hey Dudes, because the Hey Dudes are so cheap that they can't afford to put a rubber outsole on. They have to make the foam a little bit harder, because if you're walking around in 20 short A foam like the Ariat's midsole, they're gonna wear out ridiculously fast. So you actually end up with a squishier and more durable underfoot feel with the Ariats. And this outsole is gonna be pretty tough because it's a 70 short A as well, whereas, you know, once again, if you take the measurement at the bottom of the Hey Dudes, 45 short A. So even though these are really squishy underfoot, all that lack of support that you get from the multiple different densities and layers in the Ariats, you lose all that structure and all that support that you want to accommodate that squish of the comfort. Where with the Ariats, you get all that support, and they even have more squish than the Hey Dudes to begin with. So let's cut them in half, see what's on the inside, see if there's anything hiding on the inside, because it's not game over yet for the Hey Dudes, so let's cut them in half. Okay, we got them cut in half, and if you're not subscribed, consider pushing that little subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, maybe push the like button. Give it a try, helps us out. And once we get to that 1 million subscriber mark, we're gonna announce 3 really big things that we've been working on, so help us get there. And now, let's see what's inside. So now we've got them cut in half, we can look at both cross sections and really start figuring out what the big differences are when it comes to that lightweight but still durable. Because there's not really that big of a weight difference between the two. Yeah, technically the Ariat's twice the weight of the Hey Dudes, but they're also both under a pound. And so to me, the biggest difference comes in that durability, because you've got the leather upper versus fabric or a knit upper. You've got the leather heel counter versus fabric. You've got this actual rubber outsole instead of just the midsole foam. And when it comes to the sneaker feel but more boot utility, the Ariats are taller. They have more structure in the upper with that foam and just being taller and having more leather. But the comfort, while still being supportive, is where the biggest surprise and the biggest difference between these two boots is for me. Because the Ariats have a lot softer insole. It's really squishy, a lot thicker, more rebound, has a softer padded lining and collar that gives you just a little bit more comfort when you're breaking them in. You've got a super soft midsole. It's even softer than the Hey Dudes. But most importantly, the Ariats aren't just a single chunk of unsupportive foam that no matter where you put your weight, it's gonna collapse right there. Whereas with these Ariats, you've got that rubber outsole that distributes that weight. So say you step on the corner of your heel, instead of like the Hey Dudes just compressing exactly where that pressure is, causing you to roll your ankle more, at least more likely to roll your ankle, the Ariats with that rubber, it distributes that weight across a bigger surface area, so you have less of a collapse in a very specific spot and more of an overall compression. So not only are the Ariats more durable, more squishy, but they're also way more supportive. So if we know they're better, are they worth twice the price? Well, I honestly think both are priced within what they should be for for what they are, because obviously the Ariats are way better and twice the price. But I would still way rather gamble on one pair of these Ariats than two pairs of the Hey Dudes. So then why might you want to throw out your Hey Dudes after watching this? Well, because to me, this is just another example of a brand coming in with bottom of the barrel prices, with bottom of the barrel quality to match, to a point where it's so cheap that people just don't care how many extra Hey Dudes end up in a landfill, because a lot of people on a budget are just looking for something that's squishy, something that's comfortable, and something that's affordable. And that's exactly what Hey Dudes is, versus investing in a little more expensive footwear that does it better, does it more durably, and will last a lot longer and give you that support, not just initially, but for a longer period of time than a Hey Dude ever will. So that's why you might want to throw out your Hey Dudes and start investing in some higher quality footwear. But at least now you have the context to understand what some of the pitfalls and some of the things you might want to avoid in Hey Dudes, and why there is certain value in higher quality footwear. It might be worth paying twice the price for a pair of Ariats. So let me know what you guys think and which one you prefer, and if there's a counter argument that I'm missing with this, let me know, because there's a lot of Hey Dude fans out there and a lot of avid defenders of Hey Dudes, even though they're about the cheapest shoes you can ever make. And as for how this ranks on our Moctober board, I put it right here. And thank you guys for watching, all the support that you give us on this channel, our handmade leather goods we make right here in the shop, Rose Anvil 2, and all of our collaborations. So thank you guys. See ya. But